A very warm welcome to you, and welcome to Erica Jong, whose novel Fear of Flying, published 6 years ago, was described by John Updike as the most uninhibited, delicious, erotic novel a woman has ever written. Her second book was described as even more erotic than that, and I'm pretty certain that her third book, Fanny, published yesterday, won't be described as any less erotic. I mean, I think far from it, in fact. I mean, there are parts in that book that I couldn't read out here, could I?
Well, why don't we try? No.
You try, I won't try. You would not deny that your books are erotic.
They are, but I think people tend to focus on that so much because women haven't written that way before. And so they isolate those things in the books. I mean, after all, my books are about a lot more than that. And they are ultimately about honesty, about feelings. And women have been deprived of honesty about sex and a whole host of other things, because women were expected to be a kind of societal glue holding society together. And if you're going to be societal glue and make nice and make everybody happy, you can't very well go around feeling lust in your heart and talking about it. So perforce, women were prohibited from being in touch with their own feelings. And when a woman writes books that have a lot of feelings about sexuality, anger, all those other things, people are very, very shocked because it's new.
Now then in that case, you've answered what was going to be my first question, which was that in the past, it's men who've written erotic books, and now you're doing it. Now, why did you do it? I think you may have fairly deliberately set about to do it, didn't you, in your Fear of Flying?
I think that, you know, a writer's eyes always light up at the point when she says, this hasn't been done before, this is my territory, this is virgin territory, if you will. And it occurred to me at some point in my early career as a novelist, I had written poems up until the time I became a published novelist, that there wasn't very much writing about sexuality from a woman's point of view. You could read John Updike about a man's view of sex. You could read Philip Roth. You could read James Joyce. You could read D.H. Lawrence. But how many women had written about sex from their point of view? And there was this gap. I mean, there was an abyss. And to an extent, there still is.
But then you're suggesting, obviously then, that there's a difference between the way in which a man will write about sex and a woman will write about sex.
To an extent, there is. I mean, there's some level on which we're all androgynous. And there's a level on which all writers should be able to partake of the male and the female within their own hearts. Yes, granted. But society has given different roles to men and women, and as a result, we look at a lot of things very differently, including sex. And I do think that women have different feelings about sex than men.
Well, you wrote Fanny deliberately as an 18th century copy, yes, of Fanny Hill, let's say.
An 18th century novel. The inspiration was more Tom Jones than Fanny Hill.
Right.
I mean, it was really an attempt to be a female picaresque.
Yes, a romp.
A romp, and have the form of an 18th century novel. To start in the country with an orphan who doesn't know her own parentage, who journeys along the road of life, learns wisdom, grows stronger, grows to womanhood, and then comes home again, but a strong and powerful, courageous heroine.
You are being realistic, truthful. You are being...
I'm being more realistic, let's say, than in the past. I mean, you could argue whether we really have a vocabulary to talk about sex. A French writer pointed out to me not long ago when I was in Paris that the whole vocabulary of sex in which we write comes from male novels. And we don't have a true female language.
You've used the same words, haven't you?
In a way. But that's because our whole cultural tradition has been male-dominated. But okay, so if we recognize that that has been the case, now let's try to make a literature that is female, an art that is female, and let's find our way toward that. And I think the way we'll find our way toward it is by women writing about their own feelings with great honesty and frankness.
Perhaps men don't, though. And perhaps they're going to have to. You see, I don't think that although men have been the writers of sex books in the past, I'm not sure that they've actually told us what they feel about it.
No, that's true. Many of them have not. And they've been just as disguised, in a way.
Yes.
As women.
Let me have a few, let's get off sex for a second, shall we? And just give me a little bit of your own background. Were you brought up in a very strict way, in a very puritanical way by your parents? What sort of way?
I was born and brought up in New York City, in Manhattan, and my parents were self-proclaimed bohemians who were, in reality, extremely puritanical.
But so therefore, what were you brought up with a freedom, nevertheless, or certainly a freedom to information?
There was a kind of intellectual freedom around the house, and I could read anything I wanted. And my parents were in the habit of flying around the house naked. But at the same time, I think there was definitely a kind of puritanical feeling that my mother used to say to me when I was 14, "Don't wear your heart on your sleeve. A boy won't respect you if you fall into bed," and things like that. So it was really quite a contradictory environment.
Do you think that it's a dilemma at all on how you're going to talk to your daughter about being a woman? Do you think you've solved it? You can't have, can you?
Nobody ever totally solves it. But I think that she will know, because she's seen me doing my work, and she's come with me on a lot of my work trips. She's seen me signing books in bookstores. She's gone to television stations with me. I think that she'll have no doubt that she can be whatever she wants to be, besides a mother and a wife.